This is a cool story. And this is about a girl. I don't know how old she is. The Bible doesn't say, but she's called, quote unquote, little maid. And so she was a servant slash slave girl. I don't think she wanted to be where she was. She was taken from Israel. And this is from 2 Kings chapter 5. And it's a quick story. It's awesome. There was a guy named Naaman or Naaman. He was a wonderful, seems like commander, a captain of an army. But this army sort of attacked Israel. And I'll kind of show where this is real quick, see if I can draw it for you. So hope you can see this here. But anyway, okay, let's see. We're going to draw the land of Israel. Okay, so let's do that. Let's draw it like this, right about here. Okay, and it kind of goes up like this, and then goes over there. So I'm not that great of an artist, but I think you can get a kind of a picture of this. And then you have like the Lake of Gennesaret, or in the Old Testament times, it was Kinneret. Okay, like this, something like that. That's pretty good. Then we have the River of Jordan that goes up here, and then it has a lake called, I think it's pronounced hula, like hula hoop. But anyway, and then the river continues to go up here a little bit more, and then it hits some mountains up here. I'm not sure if that's accurate drawing, but it's pretty close. So that's really good, really cool. These mountains are called Hermon, Mount Hermon. Okay, and the Bible mentions it quite a bit. So anyway, then from here we have this river that goes down here. This is River Jordan, and then it goes into the Salt Sea, later described as the Dead Sea. Hope you can see that. Pretty good. All right. Now, this is the land of Israel, all this. Okay, this is where God's people live, the Jewish people. And then she was taken, evidently, from these tribes of Israel. There's like 10 tribes all in this area. And then there's the tribe of Judah down here. This is Israel, or Yehuda and Yisrael. And then all this area. Then she must have been taken, this nation, and it's called Syria, or the other name in Hebrew is Aram. So was over this area. Now, it's kind of hard to determine right now. We don't have boundaries from way back then, but it went really big. It's probably a big nation. Probably went all the way up here, went to the Euphrates River, came down like this, and then it bordered right here along Israel, along the Lake of Gennesaret and all. So this is their area. Well, they attacked Israel at times. Well, there was a really good captain that rose up here. He's a pretty noble person, honorable person. And his name, and I'll go ahead and put it in here, is, we might say Naaman, but it's Naaman, okay? And he was a leper. He had some sort of skin disease. Not sure exactly what that skin disease was, but he was a leper. It's leprosy, but there's different words that mean different skin diseases. Yeah. So now he happened to have a wife, and he was just under the king up here. Let's see, what is, I can't think of his name. Hadad, I think it is. Hadad. But his wife had a servant girl. The slave girl was taken up here and forced as a slave. Now this girl, oh my goodness, is she cool. And I hope to meet her in heaven. Probably she's there. Who knows, if she makes it. I hope. But, okay, so we'll put Aram here, or Syria. These are different names. Okay, this is a Hebrew for it. It's the same name, but it's just different language. So I don't know where she is. Let's put her right there. She was in that area. So he had leprosy, and she knew of the prophet of God, Elisha, which is this area right here. This is like Galilee here, and this is Samaria. Okay, so in that area right there, there was a prophet of God. Actually, he traveled different places on, but she knew that he was in that area. And though she was a slave, she loved God, I think. She loves Yahweh, the God of the Israelites and the true God. And she loved people because she loved God. See, when you love God, you're going to love people. You can't love God and not love people. If you hate people, you don't love God, because he created these people. They're precious to him. All right, so this is really cool. So wherever she is up here, I'm not sure where she is. It could be up here, like Damascus is probably right up in this area or something. Maybe that was the capital there. I'm not sure. It's a major old city there. But wherever she is, she told her mistress who's over her about him, Elisha is what it is, and how if Naaman, this guy, would go down there, he'll be cured. He'll be healed. Isn't that fabulous? She trusted that God is going to heal her, and she had a heart for these people that are enslaving her. Would you love people that's making you do what they want? She had no bitterness. Evidently, she had no resentment. We don't even know her name. And I'm going to read the 3 or 4 verses. She only says one name in the Bible, but I put her in this list because she is we know she's young, number one. How young? Could be a teenager, older teenager, could be a younger teenager. She could have been 12 or under. Maybe she was a young little girl. Remember I've said in past videos that in those days, and also in other countries today, this is kind of weird for us where we live, in our culture, you could be 12, like in the Jewish culture, 12 and a half plus 1 day, and you could get married. Do you know a 12-year-old? Are you 12? You might be laughing like, I'm not going to get married. I'm going to wait later. Yeah, exactly. But in those days, they did get really married at a young age. So she could have been even 10 or maybe even 9 or maybe 12 and all that. I don't know. But she was a young girl. And she was taken into captivity. And she said this. Let me just go ahead and read this. By the way, Naaman, the captain of all this army, this big nation, listened to her. He trusted her. He must have known her well enough. And the mistress, his wife, knew. She said, there's a guy that can get you healing from your skin disease. And it's a prophet from Israel. By the way, I want to take the ending of the story and say it now. He went down there, got healed. It's a really cool story. Elisha is what I'm trying to say. He told him to go dip himself into the river, that Jordan River that I said. He said, go ahead and dip into this river 7 times. Isn't that weird? God tested him. And at first he thought it was insane, but he ended up going there, long story short. Went in there, kind of went into the water, came out, 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 went into the water, came out. Went into the water, came out, went into the water, came out, and was healed. And his skin was like a baby skin, just totally fresh and new, and he was totally healed. Well, he was blown away. At that point, he became like an Old Testament Christian. He gave his life to Yahweh, and he served him for the rest of his life. I believe he's in heaven because of that miracle that God gave him. And it was because of this little girl that the Bible it mentions her. I think it's important enough for her she made it into the book, into the stories. Wow. I love that little girl. How precious of her. And what an example for you and me. Because she really lived for God, evidently loved God, and she was not bitter against her people that took her out of her home and her family and her country, and she wanted to bless that person, give him hope and healing. She had a heart for this guy who has a skin disease. That's sweet. What a sweetheart. Let me read the story now. Oh, I got to say this. Once he did that, Syria did not attack. For a long, long time, they stopped attacking Israel. They said that guy convinced the king, to not attack them anymore. And so I just love that right there. So he sent a letter to the king and talked to him and all that. So, the king sent a letter to the king in Israel and said, "Hey, there's a prophet down there." It's a kind of long story, short. But let me do this now. Naaman, captain of the army of. Let me read it out of this passage, out of this book, real quick. I want to read out of this one, make it a little easier. Now Naaman was commander of the army of the king of Aram. He was a great man. He was a good guy in the sight of his master and highly regarded. Seemed like noble person because through him the Lord had given him victory to Aram. He was a valiant soldier, but he had leprosy. He was a leper. Now bands from Aram had gone out and had taken captive a young girl from Israel, like different, they took her, brought her up there, and she served Naaman's wife. By the way, I wonder why they picked her. Maybe there's a lot of them. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe they conquered that group and saw, wow, this girl, look how this girl is. What a wonderful girl. She seems like a really nice person. We'll use her. Not good to take her as a slave, but why was she taken? Maybe God even allowed her to go through all this to test her like he did Yosef. Remember that 13 years of suffering in the Bible. Anyway, so it says, now bands took this girl. Bands, it means groups, army divisions. Then she said to her mistress, this is so cool. Verse 3, one little line in the whole Bible. If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria. Remember that area I said there? In the middle, right there where that X is, in Samaria. So she tells him there's a prophet in Samaria. A prophet is a man of God. A prophet is a messenger of God. God used Elisha, no doubt. He was powerful. It says, if only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria. She said, he would cure him of his leprosy. Now that's really powerful right there. How did she know that? I think she walked with God and God whispered this to her. And she believed that God could do this for this guy and cure him. An incurable disease. They couldn't get free from leprosy. I don't think that today, as far as I know, you can't really recover to maybe some of it you can because of medicines that we have and all, but maybe not all of it. Some of it could even be deadly. It could kill you. As soon as the king of Israel, it says Naaman went to his master. He went to the king and told him what the girl from Israel had said. By all means go, the king of Aram replied. I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents of silver, 10,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of clothing, like really rich clothes. 10 outfits. I did like go to the store and get 10 new outfits. And the letter, he went to the king, and then the king sent him to Elisha. Elisha told him to get in the river. He came out, went up there, and I bet he was really happy. Who knows? Maybe they even loosed her and released her and said, you know what, you did this for us. And they could have brought her back and said, sorry that we did this. We shouldn't have taken her as a slave. That part is in the Bible, but only God knows. I love that little child. What a child. It makes me want to cry. Like, what a special little girl. She's taken as a slave, and she's oppressed, and she's doing what they're doing. She's doing her duty, and she stayed sweet and kind, ever so gentle, ever so forgiving, ever so kind. That's really good. Oh, become like her. You can change your heart right now and just say, God, let me be like her, and be like that all your life, and be a blessing to everyone around you. And then also send people to God. Be like her. She led that person to God. He actually gave his life to God. Probably his wife did. Maybe his kids did. One little child can do a whole lot in this world. And we don't even know her name. But God knows her name. He knows your name too. Go for it, child. Give your heart and life to the Lord. And let him use you. Okay? God bless you.